Hi, Chip Cooper, Internet Attorney. I'm often asked about non-disclosure agreements. How do I use these non-disclosure agreements effectively in my business? Well, non-disclosure agreements can be a very valuable tool because they're typically used as a prelude to a more definitive agreement. For example, if you're discussing a possible joint venture with a potential joint venture partner, you would probably be disclosing, both of you, each to the other, confidential information. Also, if you're entering into a very important business relationship with a customer, for example, assuming you're going to be disclosing confidential information, then in that situation, a non-disclosure agreement would be indicated. Now, in terms of what's involved in the agreement itself, other than the definition of confidential information itself, there are two very important aspects, which are the restrictions on the use of the confidential information and the disclosure of it. Now, in terms of use, there is typically a defined purpose for the discussions and the disclosures, such as, for example, entering into a potential reseller or joint venture agreement. And that purpose is defined in the agreement, and the restriction is that the recipient can only use the information for that purpose and no other. Now, in terms of restrictions on disclosure, they are typically done in terms of specified or defined categories of people. Typically, your employees who have a need to know, and possibly even your professional advisors. So these agreements, these non-disclosure agreements, are very valuable tools. However, there is one thing that you should never overlook, and that is the use of good judgment. Because at the beginning of a very definitive transaction, you may not have a level of trust with the other party. And even though you might be entering into a non-disclosure agreement which would give you legal protection, you really don't want to be in a position where you have to sue somebody for breach of the agreement. So go slowly. Disclose only the information that's necessary at the beginning. And then as the trust relationship develops, then you might use your best judgment to disclose additional sensitive information, often referred to as how high do you lift the kimono, so to speak. So that's the basic information about the profitable use of non-disclosure agreements. This is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. This video is provided for informational purposes only, and it doesn't constitute legal advice. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for additional tips.